Okay, let's dive in. Imagine this. What if there's one really common substance behind almost every disease we call incurable?
It's a startling premise, and the source material we're looking at today calls this the cancer substance.
Yeah, they apparently switched from calling it the magnet substance because cancer substance felt, well, more direct, I guess.
Exactly, and this source isn't just offering minor health tips, it's presenting a whole alternative framework for disease. It's really quite critical of modern medicine.
So our goal today for you listening is to really unpack this. What is this cancer substance? Where does the source claim it comes from? Things like geopathic stress, EMF, even your body constitution.
And crucially, what steps they propose for getting rid of it and stopping it from forming in the first place.
And we need to be clear about the scale of these claims right up front. We're talking rheumatism, psoriasis, ecotopy, all linked back to this one thing. And cancer, obviously.
The claim is huge. More than 90% of illnesses that hospitals supposedly can't cure, they say it's actually caused by this substance.
And the outlook on cancer treatment through hospitals is, well, it's bleak, according to this source. A 5-year prognosis, max.
And even shorter, they claim if a hospital gets involved, if they touch it, it really puts pressure on understanding their proposed mechanism.
Definitely. So, this cancer substance, what is it physically made of? Can you walk us through the chemistry they propose? How does it supposedly form inside us?
Okay, so the source is very specific here. It all starts, they say, with hormone decomposition.
Hormones breaking down.
Yeah.
Okay. What causes that?
External stimuli, which we'll get into.
Yeah.
But when the hormone breaks down, it releases something called active oxygen, reactive oxygen species.
Right. Active oxygen, that's a known thing in biology. But how does that become magnetic?
Well, this active oxygen then supposedly combines with the iron that's just naturally in our blood.
Okay.
And that combination creates FeO, a type of iron oxide. This FeO, according to the theory, is sort of the problem starter.
It's a seed for chronic illness.
Kind of.
Okay.
Then this FeO combines with other iron compounds already there, specifically F3O4.
And they fuse.
Exactly. They fuse together, and the result is magnetite. Fe3O4.
Magnetite, like the actual magnetic rock.
Precisely. The source emphasizes it has strong magnetic properties, acting like a tiny lodestone inside your body. That is the cancer substance.
Wow. A literal internal magnet.
Yeah.
That's quite a specific claim. If that's the case, how common is it supposed to be? They did surveys, right, using a particular tool.
They did. The speaker used a dowsing rod. Now, using that method, the numbers they claim are pretty startling.
Okay, what did they find?
They claim 40% of adults just walking down the street have it.
40%. Wow.
And it goes up from there. 80% of general hospital visitors, they say. And then nearly 100% of patients at Oriental medicine clinics.
Almost everyone in those clinics.
Mhm.
And they drew a line between that 40% on the street and the national cancer death rate, didn't they?
Yes, they specifically mention South Korea's rate being around 37% at the time and called the 40% figure very similar. They present it as evidence of widespread risk.
Okay, so if hormone decomposition is the internal start, what are the external triggers? What kicks this whole process off?
The source points overwhelmingly, like 90% or more of the cause, to two main environmental factors.
Which are?
Geopathic stress, which they call water vane waves, and electromagnetic waves, EMF.
Geopathic stress.
Yeah.
They have a specific definition for that too, don't they? It's not just underground water.
Right. They define it specifically as radon radiation coming up from the Earth. Even weak doses, they claim, are enough to constantly trigger this hormone breakdown.
Radon. Okay, so that's the environmental saline. What else?
The next big category is intense emotional trauma, what they call strong stress.
And this isn't just everyday stress, right?
No, not at all. We're talking major life events. The
Yeah.
examples given are, frankly, brutal.
Like what?
The death of a child is listed as the absolute biggest stressor. Then the death of a spouse, divorce, and bankruptcy. Really severe shocks.
Wow. Okay, so environment, extreme stress. What else is on the list?
Then you've got certain chemicals in food, highly irritating chemical substances.
Such as?
They name benzene, toluene, paint thinner, and importantly, formalin.
Formalin, right? Like in plywood adhesives.
Exactly. And they note that painters who are around these things a lot seem to get cancer frequently.
Interesting observation. And the food trigger.
Genetically modified foods, GMOs, they specifically call out corn and soybeans.
Okay. And they mentioned these are widely imported, but maybe not accepted elsewhere.
Yeah, they make a point that these are imported freely into the country, unlike, they claim, in Japan or Europe.
Let's talk about the proof for a second. They use the O-ring test to show weakness, but also this dowsing rod quite extensively.
Yeah.
How do they justify relying on a dowsing rod for these stats?
Well, they don't really offer a scientific justification for the rod itself. Instead, they seem to rely on the outcomes, like the O-ring test results, as the proof.
Ah, so the demonstration is the proof. Tell us about the O-ring test again.
Right. So someone holds their fingers together like making an O really tightly. Then you put them in what's supposedly a geopathic stress zone, or have them touch something emitting EMF, like a phone, perhaps.
And what happens?
Instantly, they lose strength. The person testing can easily pull their fingers apart.
I see. And the conclusion they draw from that is?
That the body is basically defenseless against these forces. That you can't use your strength, meaning your body cannot function normally when exposed. It's presented as direct evidence of harm.
Okay, that leads to susceptibility.
Yeah.
Because the source claims this substance doesn't just form in anyone, right? There's a filter based on traditional Asian medicine constitutions.
Absolutely. This is a key point. The cancer substance, they claim, only forms in yin people.
Yin types only. Which specific constitutions?
The Soyamin and the Teomin, also the rare Youngsong-in type. But yang people, they state clearly, do not get it.
That's fascinating, and they connect this to certain professions, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They observe that people in roles requiring quiet thought, like rich people, professors, judges, doctors, are often Soyamin, these yin types.
It leads to that striking claim about doctors.
Yeah, the claim that doctors get cancer the most. They even share an anecdote about running an academy near several hospitals and seeing multiple hospital directors die of cancer, linking it directly to this constitutional tendency in those professions.
And for these susceptible yin types, there's a predicted timeline if the substance does form.
Yes, a very specific one. Cancer is predicted to develop 6 years later for a Soyamin type and 10 years later for a Teomin type.
But it's not guaranteed, right? Having the substance doesn't automatically mean cancer.
Correct. The logic is, if you have cancer, you definitely have the substance. But just having the substance doesn't seal your fate for cancer. Other factors are involved.
No, this ties into probably the most surprising claim for many listeners, the inheritance pattern.
Ah, yes, the X pattern. According to this source, your constitution isn't just randomly inherited. It follows a strict pattern. The father and daughter must share the same constitution, and the mother and son must share the same constitution.
Must. That sounds incredibly rigid.
They present it as completely reliable. So much so, they claim, that if the pattern doesn't hold, it raises questions about biological lineage, based on their own experiences checking families.
So what does that mean for family risk if your
Right.
parent gets cancer?
The implication is very direct and gender-specific. If the father gets cancer, implying he's yin and has the substance, then the daughter, sharing his constitution, needs to be concerned.
And conversely.
If the mother gets cancer, it's the son who should worry.
And this extends beyond parents to aunts and uncles.
Yes, if they share the relevant parent's constitution, for example, your paternal uncles sharing your father's constitution could reflect the same risk profile your sister might face, or you if you were the daughter. Same logic for maternal aunts and the son.
It paints a very different picture of hereditary risk.
Yeah.
Okay, shifting back to conventional medicine, the source material is, well, it's not holding back on criticism.
Not at all. The critique is severe.
What are the main points of failure they identify?
A central claim is that hospitals are essentially lying about curing cancer. They state doctors just don't know the cause or how it develops.
Pretty strong words. Any other areas?
Yes, they broaden it out. The claim is made that no doctor on earth can actually cure diseases of the liver or the kidneys. Full stop.
Wow. Okay. And this critical view extends to mental health, too, with a really radical reframing.
It does. The source asserts that mental illnesses they list, insomnia, depression, panic disorder, bipolar, schizophrenia, even developmental disorders, are fundamentally not brain diseases.
Not brain diseases, then what are they?
They claim they are heart diseases. The heart is the root.
So treating the brain is looking in the wrong place.
Exactly. They use insomnia as the prime example, saying no doctor can cure even one case because they're focused on the brain, not the heart, which they see as the actual source of the problem.
Okay, so given this very clear alternative view of cause and effect, what's the proposed solution? How do you get rid of this cancer substance and stop it coming back?
Well, the solution presented is also very specific and relies on proprietary products. First, to remove the substance, the magnetite that's already formed,
Yes.
you need to apply a product called Hompogo. The claim is that using this for just 2 weeks makes the substance disappear easily.
2 weeks. Okay. And then prevention. Stopping it forming again means blocking those triggers, right? Geopathic stress and EMF.
Correct. And for that, there are other tools. The main one for your home or car is Cheetah.
Cheetah. What does it do?
You attach it to an electrical source, like your fridge cord or somewhere on the metal frame of your car.
And that protects the whole space.
Yes, the claim is it blocks all geopathic stress and EMF within that house or car. Complete protection for that zone.
Interesting. And they mentioned a side benefit for driving.
He did. An ancillary claim is that using Cheetah in your car also prevents drowsiness while driving.
Okay, so Cheetah guards your home and car. What about when you're out and about using your phone?
For that, there's another product, a sticker called Doramjoey. That's Korean for squirrel.
A squirrel sticker?
Yep. You put this Doramjoey sticker on your cell phone. The idea is it blocks the EMF from the phone when you're outside those cheetah-protected zones.
Right. So Hongpago for removal, Cheetah and Dharamjawi for blocking. Did they offer any success stories besides the cancer claims?
They did mention a couple of anecdotes. One was about someone supposedly cured of rheumatism quite early on.
Mm-hmm.
And another interesting one was about surveying a group of elderly Baduk players, the game Go. These players were mostly over 80.
And what do they find?
Using the dowsing rod, they found these active elderly individuals had almost none of the cancer substance, the implication being that's why they're thriving.
Okay, so that brings us pretty much full circle on this theory. For you listening, the takeaways from this source are really clear, if demanding.
Absolutely. It boils down to 3 main things according to this view. First, know your risk. Are you a yin person, Simon or Taemin?
Second, if you might have the substance, the proposed fix is Hongpago for 2 weeks to remove it.
And third, constant vigilance in blocking the main triggers, geopathic stress and EMF using Cheetah in your home and car and Doramjoey on your phone.
It's a complete system. And that final point about inheritance, the X pattern, it leaves you thinking, doesn't it?
It really does. It completely reframes hereditary risk away from just direct parent-child links based on genes we understand. The idea that, say, a daughter's constitutional health and risk might be more closely mirrored by her paternal uncle than perhaps even her own mother.
Or a son's risk reflecting his maternal aunt.
Exactly. It forces you to consider family health history in this very specific, gendered, constitution-based way that's just. Well, it's entirely outside the framework of modern medical science. It really challenges how we think about connections across a family tree.